Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. We are here with another video. Today we're going to have a look at some Chinese stocks and how the supply chain has completely obliterated their stock price. Now, it is quite a bearish moment in the stock market right now. Everything is down except for a few key players, which are just bouncing up and down on news. So today we're going to have a look at three specific EVs out of China. The reason they're all down, and they're really all down because of the same reason. And we're also going to see if there's some buying opportunities for maybe some long-term investing on one of these three. Full disclosure, I do have a small share size in NIO. Going to go ahead and lay that out there. I may add into one of these positions this week depending on what happens just because of the price. All right, first off is XPEV. Now, I have never invested in XPEV, but I have day traded XPEV, and I've actually day traded all three of these stocks. Now, you're going to see a common theme every time I bring up one of these three, and it's all supply chain issues and also deliveries based off of the COVID issues they're having in China right now. As you can see here, we are on one of my favorite sites, Seeking Alpha. As you can see here, XPEV, or actually they're called XPEV, but I always go by their ticker. Their deliveries have dropped 75% based off of year and are down 41% based off of just last month in April. That is pretty ridiculous. And again, I don't know how much you may or may not know about the deliveries that are coming out of China, but ever since they've had the lockdowns over there, people aren't even allowed to leave their house. So it's going to be pretty obvious that all the deliveries are going to be completely obliterated. People aren't allowed to drive around in China in specific towns. And a lot of these folks can't even go to work. So production has completely ceased, which is what you can see here. Now, one of the big things is we are looking for buying opportunities because COVID and lockdowns are not going to last forever. We want to see these companies' previous price ranges and where they have a potential to run back to. All right, guys, here we are on XPEV 3-year/weekly chart. The only indicators that I have up are going to be the 200, which is represented by the purple line, and also the 50 EMA, which is going to be represented by the yellow line. Now, since it's such a long time frame, we're not really going to have a lot of patterns that we're looking for, like an ABCD or some kind of bearish flag or a bull flag or something like that. Really what we're looking for here is low points on price action and volume, just to see where an entry point may be. Right now, these stocks are so beaten down, I don't know if I would want to take another short position on any of these, just because the levels are so low already. I could really only see maybe a covered call, maybe some calls, or maybe a small position to the long side, if anything. Now on XPEV, we had one of the ridiculous dips here on a lot of volume. Now it did end up being a green day. What that means is this was actually down here around the $20 mark when it opened. It probably had a dip this week, and then it finished up here actually close to $30 on that week. And then we had some bounce, and it just wasn't able to break the 200 SMA during that week. And then we just had the sell-off for the past few weeks into April. Actually, we're in May now. It's May 1st. April was not a good month for any of these stocks, and you saw the delivery numbers. So what we're really looking for right now is, what do we think about XPEV? Well, as you can see, this week right here was one of the worst weeks that XPEV has had in a very long time. We've had around this guy right here, which was sitting around $22.50. This one was sitting right around $25. And we haven't had anything close to that in a good 2 years. So honestly, I don't know how much you want to put on this dip right here. As you can see, this is where it closed, and it was right at $22.50. And that was, look at the time frame. We're talking about May of 2021 all the way to March of 2022. That is the length of time where prices are still respected. So keep that in mind. Right now, we are still sitting at a price range. It closed right around the $24.50 mark on Friday, and it could possibly open a little bit lower with all these numbers coming out. So that's where we're at on XPEV. Let's go ahead and jump over to LI. All right, guys, second on the list is LI, or I'm just going to call them Li. They are Li Auto out of China, and they are down 62% for the month of April. due to the lockdowns in China. Now, the company did report over 5,500 deliveries in April of 2021, and they really got destroyed since then. LI is one of those that really doesn't move as much, and honestly, I don't trade it as much, but I do keep my eye on it just because it's another EV, and normally when there's one like Tesla report really good earnings, it's going to drag those up with them maybe just a little bit. One of the good things about those stocks from the EV sector that don't move a lot is those can be maybe some ideas for a longer term investment instead of something that you're wanting to day trade like NIO or Tesla. Now, their price point is sitting at $22.70 post market as of Friday, and they actually had a couple greens. And one of the other things that you're going to see a lot on these pages are going to be ratings, which are going to be buys and strong buys. Now, again, that's not advice. Those are actually the folks that are writing these articles. But one of the reasons they're all giving these stocks buy ratings is because they've been beat down so much. And that's one of the reasons that I'm doing this video right now, to try to bring this to light and give you guys some ideas. All right, guys, here we are on my favorite EV out of China, and that is NIO. Honestly, this is probably my top 2 or top 3 EV sector stocks to trade. Obviously, Tesla's there. I really like ChargePoint as well. Sometimes Rivian gets their ass beat a lot though, so it's kind of scary to trade that. But you know, that Nikola. But yeah, NIO's up there. Now they have obviously gotten beat down as well, and we can see that right here. Deliveries down almost 50% month over month as COVID hits the supply chain. And they're not even talking about the lockdowns in China. They're just bringing up the supply chain. As of April 30th, 2022, cumulative deliveries have reached 197,000 vehicles. That's pretty good. NIO is pushing stuff out there. They're definitely a really strong competitor overseas. So they're one of those that if you can get in at a good price, it really doesn't scare me to have to ride the dip, because I feel pretty bullish on NIO over the long term. Now, just to reiterate one more time, this right here, even though it isn't mentioned in the top line of the article, the company suspended production at its plant as its supply chain partners in Shanghai, Jilin, Jingzhou, and many other locations suspended production as COVID situations worsened. So what's happening is they're calling it a supply chain issue. It's because the producers of the parts they need are having to actually shut down because of COVID. So it just, you know, it goes down the line, and it's causing everybody to have to delay, shut down, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, we pray that there's going to be an end to all the supply chain issues, and it will recover. The plants will open back up. It really just depends on how long that we're willing to wait that out. All right, here we are on the NIO chart. I really love looking at this chart because it is insanity. Now, we're looking here. I'm just going to grab this real quick. This is the 3-year chart. So you can see that NIO was holding, we're holding prices down here below $5 for almost an entire year. Could you imagine being able to get in on NIO at those prices? And then we've steadily had volume start pouring into this stock where it was just getting news. We were getting earnings. And then, I mean, look at the price of this thing. This thing just went all the way up to almost $67 before giving it back. That was just an insane movement. I really wish I would have been trading NIO back when it made all of that movement. Now, right now, this chart looks really similar to XPEV, where we had the continual sell-off where NIO really held strong for a long time. And I was actually day trading NIO in this area right here, where it would dip down to 35, and then in a month it would already make another run up to over 50, up to 55. So it made for a lot of volume and a lot of good day trading. Unfortunately, it has broken down. It lost the 50 when it made this pennant area right here. I guess it was more like a flag right here. And it kept giving back just because of COVID and supply chain, and it was really tough for NIO to recover. The volume on NIO was really weak throughout the winter. We did see a little bit of an increase on volume, but now it's starting to give it back. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, I am going to disclose that I do own some NIO. Once it lost the $20 mark last week and it got down into the 18s, I went ahead and took a small position I wanted to get more, but there's also another stock that I want to add to, so I'm really torn between which one that I want to add. But right now, what we're looking at is we're hoping that NIO can hold above the $15 mark, because right now that is really the only key mark that we have to go off of. These levels back here, way back in August and September, there wasn't really a key line. I mean, there's some, but there's nothing really that's, it's going to see multiple taps on this weekly. Right now, my level would be 15, and if it went under 15, then I would just have to say, okay, I would have to look at the news and probably give it a few days. The good thing is there is a lot of potential for NIO to rebound. If we can get this 50 to go ahead and turn back up here, and if it can move back above the 200 EMA and we can get back to the $25 mark, and then we can have some more sideways action like we had through these several months, then I mean it's easy to get maybe a 50 or even 100% return on this, because NIO was actually trading around the $35 to $40 mark for several months, so it's definitely possible. Really right now, guys, I'll go ahead and end the video on this. Again, none of this is advice to tell you when or where. I just want to open your eyes to the buying possibilities. And, it's really beat down right now. So just do your diligence and research if you are thinking about investing in some EVs. I know these are out of China, and China's really hard to manage sometimes because they lock down differently than other countries do, which can really just destroy the supply chain and deliveries, which really affects numbers. But at the end of the day, if you do have that mindset of you have some extra cash, you want to look somewhere to invest, maybe over a period of time, you're okay with letting the money sit there for a month or 2 months, or maybe even 6 months. These are some opportunities that you can look into, and make your decisions off of that. Thanks a lot, excuse me, for stopping by, and have a great weekend. Take care.